the thing, and then I'll do the read again.
G'day, community, and welcome to a megapod. Not a mailbag, a megapod. That's right, I'm in control now. To my left, in your centre of screen, we have the wonderful man from out west in person. Throw him up in the chat. And we've got the big brains behind the op himself, Lekdog. Lekdog, I think you have a very special ad read for us for this, starting off a megapod.
Yes. Today, this megapod is brought to you again by Manscaped for the 7th time tonight. Lads, Father's Day in Australia is just around the corner, and our friends at Manscaped are here to ensure all the father figures out there are looking daddy material this June. Manscaped's Performance Package 4.0, which they sent us and was sick.
They did.
Includes their signature Lawnmower 4.0, is the perfect bundle to tackle any and all old man hair from head to toe. That's right. That right here is no dad joke. Treat him and yourself and join 6 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped. With this exclusive offer, you get 20% off and free shipping using the code JOCK, J-O-C-K, at manscaped.com. Trust me, his dad bod will thank you. And dads, make sure you buy this for yourself. Sons, buy this for you and your dad. Ladies, buy this for your man. And dog daddies, you deserve it too. So, get 20% off and free shipping with the code JOCK, J-O-C-K, at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com using code JOCK, J-O-C-K. Shake what your mama gave you? Nah, shake what your daddy gave you. Welcome.
Thanks, Manscaped. I don't know about that slogan, but I appreciate you.
No, this is good stuff. So, obviously we're live, and is someone manning the comments? Damo, you on comment duty?
I'm on comment duty. I've got it open here.
We've got a bunch of questions. How are we going to start this? Are we going to do good Supercoach thing, bad Supercoach thing?
Good thing, bad thing? Do you want to start good thing, bad thing?
Yeah, we'll do good thing, bad thing. Yeah, why not? Lek, you want to start with your good thing?
Yep, just trying to open my team to remember what
All
happened.
right, Clarky, do you want to start with your good thing?
My good thing is actually going to be the same good thing that I had last week, which was picking Rory Laird and getting your captain right feels good just in any aspect of a week in Supercoach. When you nail that captain selection, my God.
It makes life easy.
You just feel like you've done everything right regardless of everything that's gone wrong.
No, it does. It makes it easier. I VC'd Laird as well into Miller. Didn't end up taking Miller's score. Took Laird's. I'll take 144. But my good thing is going to be Josh Dunkley pulling his goddamn finger out and scoring 130 points for us after a couple of very terrible scores, thanks to the midfield madness from the Bevo salad. Mixing up my metaphors. Damo, what was your good thing of the week?
My good thing was Andrew Brayshaw scoring 138 points.
Was very good.
Yeah, he was the only docker that seemed to turn up that day. Let's not talk about the game itself, but 138 points from Andy Brayshaw. And Patch says that his good thing is this pod.
Oh, well, that's very, very
Bless
nice.
him.
Bad things of the week. Laid out from Cornelio, I had several options, including people I said I was going to trade to in the chat. Goulden, who scored over 130. Yeah. Rowan Marshall, who scored 737,000 points. Bailey Smith, dodged a bullet there, potentially. Ended up going, I'll save a trade. I'll just go Jai Cully for some easy cover, and then he scored 20, scaled down to, 26 points. And got suspended. So thank you, Jai. Thank you very much.
My bad thing is also Jai Cully. I was hoping he could stick around for the duration of the end of the season, but he decided he likes to elbow Noah Anderson, and I will not take the elbowing or the injuring of Noah Anderson. So
no, we stand Noah Anderson.
I will happily cop a donut for him copping a suspension for elbowing Noah Anderson, because Lek, we stan Noah Anderson.
We do. We are Noah Anderson stans.
Noah
Standerson.
Yeah, Noah Standerson.
I got there.
That's it. No, that's great. My bad thing also comes out of the GWS camp. Harry Himmelberg scored a 74, started forward and then rotated back through the mid and sort of really, really suffered from that utility role that he's been playing at the Giants. I still don't think he's like a must trade and he's going to really hurt anyone, because the biggest danger is the unknown, because they had Nick Haynes forward last week, or the week previous, and that wasn't working out, and the Giants are kind of cooked.
They're a mess.
Yeah, at this stage of the season as well, like Mark McVay's might not be, probably not going to be the head coach next year, so he's kind of just going, all right, well, throw it at the board and just see what sticks, and hopefully we don't get pantsed. And they got pantsed, but still, I think a 74 from that score is, from that role that he was playing, it's still perfectly fine, but definitely wasn't utilised in that halfback swapping out through the mid role that he had the previous weeks that have been netting the 100+ scores. So hopefully this week, fingers crossed, because I don't have any trades anyway, and let's go.
Do we have trades in this room? No trades?
No trades.
No trades.
I got 2 trades.
You got 2 trades?
I'm trade rich, baby.
Mr. Richman with the
Can
trades.
I have one? I need one.
If I could transfer it, I would.
Could you imagine if they made that a thing?
Can you Venmo me a trade?
How much of your salary are you going to give me?
You can trade a trade for cap space. So let's say you have 3 trades, but no money in the bank. But we've got no trades and 76k. We'll give you 76k for a trade.
I'm into it.
I don't mind it. I think it's hard to I think the biggest thing would be they have to find somewhere to give you the downside of getting a trade, because a trade has so much value to it, especially when you have none. So much more value.
All right. Let's get into the questions, I think. I think we'll go to questions. This is a mailbag pod. It's a mega pod, but it's a mailbag pod.
Should we start with a patch question like we have done so many times?
It feels fitting for the mailbag finale, doesn't it?
He put this in the chat just now, but I feel like we need to answer it.
Yeah. He
has no trades and 3 money. Why can't he have 3 trades and no money?
Because the man made some bad decisions. Is the answer to that? That's the answer.
I agree with that.
I don't specifically know what decisions he made that were bad, but I'm sure that they occurred.
He brings them up when he does make them, and they kind of fly through the air and are gone by the next week when the next bad thing. And he's been so blindsided by Essendon being good for the last couple of weeks.
Asterisks.
Yeah.
Asterisks.
As has also asked, how am I enjoying Melbourne? I think I should just tell you guys the story that I told Azza when I was chatting to him earlier. I went for a walk. I didn't think I crossed the road once, but I ended up on the other side of the road, underneath the road that I was walking on, because in the city, the roads go up and around on each other.
Yeah.
And I somehow ended up below my hotel.
Huh.
On a road that was next to my hotel, but grounded, and I couldn't work out how to get back to my hotel, so I just had to go back the other way. And that was a long walk. I ended up getting breakfast out of it, but that was a long walk.
I feel like Melbourne is definitely a city that's kind of like that, where it makes sense until you realise that you have no idea where you are and you are somehow on the other side of a road that you don't remember crossing.
Yeah.
Yeah, particularly in that part of town, down towards Crown and stuff. I don't know how to get anywhere.
God,
yes. At one point, I was like, hey, I'm at Marvel Stadium. How did I get here?
Yes, that's correct. That is correct.
You mapped out your route for the weekend.
I walked past the hotel that Barron's going to be staying in. We won't say that online because I don't want people mobbing him.
Yeah,
he is very
popular. He's very popular. It'll be me.
Yeah, I want to know where he lives. I've got a few questions that we can start out with.
Did you manscape the dome?
Yeah. Well, not today, but I do normally manscape head to toe.
Okay.
As you can tell, I'm also wearing the underwear. We'll get that on in the OnlyFans Patreon only stream after this. Gentlemen, these are questions without notice. So, I've tried. This is from Tim Holmes on Twitter. I've tried to avoid having tools in my Supercoach team. Blokes who must be hard to have as teammates. I include Stephen May, Jake Stringer, Jordan De Goey, perhaps Braden Pruce. Do you have any player that fits this category?
I do, but I think I've said it many times during the season. We'll never pick Jordan De Goey.
No, Jordan De Goey.
Just absolute bad vibes time. Jeremy Finlayson Gono, I don't care for Jeremy Finlayson.
I don't know when I would ever need to pick him because of given how old he is, but I will never pick Luke Shuey.
Okay. Is there the story behind the hatred, or
No, I just don't like him. He's
Bad
got a punchable face.
Jake Melksham, punchable face.
Yeah, well, evidently.
Joel Selwood, punchable face.
I'm just
Would
looking...
never. He's probably a lovely man in person.
I've met him in person. He is a lovely man.
Very good.
Hey, Lecto, do you have an OnlyFans? As I wants to know how much is the membership fee.
Free for him.
Okay.
My players that I would never pick, I don't know if he's a tool, but Isaac Heaney, out of pure stubbornness, I would classify as a tool, because I don't want to pick him.
He's almost on my blacklist. I said at the beginning of the year, I would not pick him as soon as because he'll play midfield until I pick him. Guess what? He's in my team. Stop playing midfield as soon as I picked him. So guess what? He's going to finish the year with an average of 97 again.
Well, I need him to average about 10 over the next 3 weeks because I'm buying a Sydney membership. Jeff, you're in chat. We know that's happening.
On the flip side of that, have you guys got any good boys who you just can't walk past and go, oh, nah, I gotta do it.
I feel like that's Laird. I feel like it's
Laird's
Rory
a good
Laird.
boy.
And on the drive here, me and Lek were saying, you don't want to not pick Jack McRae. But on form in the back half of this season, you hope he's carrying an injury. Because I don't understand how that form has just dropped.
I think that's a deep dive for the off-season because that's going to be a huge discussion. Good boys for me. Zach Merritt always ends up in my team. I try to start him every year. Didn't start him this year, but he's been averaging like 130 since over the last few weeks. I think moving forward, Connor Rosé might end up being a good boy in my eyes. Obviously, didn't like him because of Kane Corns.
Oh, good God.
Not a good reason to not like someone.
Not a good reason to not like anyone.
But anyway, didn't like him, didn't rate him, hated the conversation, picked him, as we all know who listening to this, picked him earlier in the year, been dominant ever since, and I think he's approaching good boy, and probably retired players. Corey Enright was a good boy.
Patch wants to know, who are we locking in first in 2023, and why is it Mason Redman?
Yes, he just texted me telling me to ask to read that out. So
that's unknown. He doesn't get a direct line to Question Town.
Let us finish talking, Patch, and then we will answer your question.
I don't think I can trust the Bombers player again. I've had Jordan Ridley all year and have been nothing but disappointed.
I've got a question back to Patch, and Patch will know this better because he's a Bombers fan most weeks.
When they
will Mason Redman play that role every week in 2023, or will Ben Rutten decide that he's a small forward randomly and he suddenly averages 40?
Yeah,
because Essendon is still looking for that formula that works for them to win games consistently, and until they find the positioning and the players that they need in that mix, Mason Redman could end up on the wing. Jordan Ridley could end up as a key forward. We could see Peter Wright end up as a key defender because they want to try it out. You know, like I can't trust Ben Rutten, and I can't trust the players at Essendon to play their role week in, week out at the moment.
Bombers defenders are on the same list as Isaac Heaney for me next year, where I'm just like, I ain't going there. I'm not here to be hurt. Somebody I'm locking in though. I think Angus Brayshaw as a halfback. I mean, I watch a lot of Melbourne games, but I just think the variance in his scoring goes between 60 and 140. I'm happy to take that if the 140s are coming. Like, he's just racking up intercepts, he's racking up possessions, he's just absolutely the man in that halfback role. And we've locked him in for another 6 years, and to be honest, I think if Melbourne are planning on being competitive, he'll probably stay in that role. And if anything, he'll rotate into the midfield occasionally. Like, that's not a bad thing. Like, all that ticks a lot of boxes for scoring potential as a defender. And it's something that I've definitely got to consider as a first option for defense.
I don't mind it. He started the year really well. He's a reasonable selection. I think
He'll be expensive though.
Yeah, he'll have an inflated price. I think for me, I'll be looking at first picked is Rory Laird and normally Jack McRae. We'll discuss him a lot in the off season. A bit outside the box, Will Phillips we spoke about on the way here. If he's healthy and over glandular fever, he'll be very cheap and has upside for North Melbourne. I also like the look of guys like Took Miller. We're just gonna pick him.
Yeah.
I wonder. We spoke about a lot in the car actually, because it was a long drive. Because everything seems to be nowhere and everywhere at the same time in Melbourne.
Everything outside of Melbourne is at least an hour away from anywhere else.
Was given the addition of the DPP additions during the season, it feels like we might not start the year with too many forward locks. We will because no one would have started the year with the amount of forwards that they did if they knew that they were going to have Parker, Liberatore.
We always suspected Bont, but he got it. Tim English.
All of those players eligible for the forward line, they wouldn't have picked anything.
Luke Parker.
They wouldn't have picked a forward line with actual forwards in it if they knew that they were going to get these players. So it wouldn't surprise me if next year people have, I don't know, Josh Dunkley, and then their F2 is like an Oscar Allen or something, and then it's just rookies. And looking at the draft crop, there are going to be lots of forward rookies this year, or should be forward rookies anyway, that should play pretty much straight away.
I've got a few suggestions from chat. Trigger Happy has Hayden Young. Shannon Hearn has Taranto if he moves club, particularly if he holds forward eligibility. Whitfield, never again.
Yep.
There's a few suggestions. Daily Bale. There's a few different guys. Hopper will be cheap if he moves. Tom Green, he sort of broke out and then dipped off again this year. There's a few options. I like Callum Mills as a starter next year. He'll be in not enough teams to start next year, and similar to Angus Brayshaw, he can go big and small.
Yeah, I think it's hard at this part of the year as well with the downside of all the bad that's happened throughout your Supercoach season to just be. It's really easy to just blacklist people left, right, and centre. I think
Jaden Short.
Yeah, Jaden Short. Jack Crisp. I think a lot of people are going to be not want to touch him again. But I think Damo's right. I think forwards is going to be a lot more interesting, and honestly, ruck as well. I've ended up with Jared Witts and Toby Nankervis as my current two rucks, and I hate life.
That's not fun.
Existence.
I have the same setup, and it is painful, but they're usually good for a score of about 84 combined a week.
Yeah. So I think it's easy for people to say it at the start of the season where it's like, yeah, you got to do set and forget, or a set and forget's going to be dead, and then by the end of the season we'll all have a completely different look at it. But I think genuinely, based on this year, my biggest learning for that is going to be, all right, let's pick people who are reasonably priced and consistent rather than trying to bank on guys who are going to go 120 plus, like the Gorns and the Grundys.
The goddamn total points rule, motherfuckers!
Yeah.
Benno wants to know if we will be locking in Nick Dacos.
Potentially. Did we lock in Sam Walsh after his first year? I'm just trying to remember how he went in his second year.
I think he's still...
I think he did pretty well in his second year. There were some people who were very bullish on him because of his end of the season.
Clayton Oliver was another one we locked on in his second year. It just depends, because obviously he spent a lot of time behind the ball.
But this will be the first pre-season where Nick Dacos has had a full season of football behind him in a long time.
He'll definitely be in the discussion. I don't think he'll be that cheap, though.
Used flashlight salesman, Kadeem Coleman.
Damn.
Absolute bang, I think, for me. If he plays that same role again.
Yeah.
I love watching him play footy as well.
Do you think that Gideon Coleman is going to dampen Daniel Rich?
I think they can only ever enhance each other. But he is fast becoming my my replacement, not replacement, but he will be the successor to Daniel Rich for me.
My favourite thing about Coleman is that I have the thing of watching him play football and go, he's really good at football, look at him run and carry. And also one of my other memories being, man, remember that time that Jack Viney poleaxed him? That was amazing for me.
We didn't answer the question before because you asked me about Hayden Young and then I never really gave you an answer. He's interesting because on the weekend against Melbourne, he played midfield. He was tagging Christian Petrarca.
Yeah, he was.
So I don't know where his best position is in Justin Longmuir's eyes because he played midfield as a junior and then got moved to halfback for the under-18s comp and created a pretty nice partnership with Lockie Ash for, I think it was Vic Country.
Okay.
So he could return to the midfield. He's definitely that smooth mover type that they will be missing now with the retirement of David Mundy. So he could find himself in the midfield or having stints in the midfield next year.
I think, we talked about him as a potential sort of breakout-y Lockie's player leading into this year. You had another season of experience and a void of significance in a David Mundy hole, and one of him or Erasmus or someone will get it, and if it's him, I think he's going to be a very sexy pick. So whoever suggested that in chat, good shout. I've got some questions off the website, which we can start to talk about. Jesse Spanner, shout out Jesse.
Jesse
has asked 2 questions. The first is, who's your smoky pick across each line next year? I feel like we've kind of covered that.
Yeah.
If you've got any other names you want to throw out.
Smoky pick in the forward line. Jai Amos.
Yep, yes, you've mentioned him.
Melbourne unleashed Jacob Ben Ruyan.
Yeah, well, yeah.
I will give Melbourne whatever they want for Jackson and Van Ruin in the same trade.
Lloyd Meek.
Lloyd Meek. We spoke about it. Nick Caulfield as a guy coming. We're just naming players who haven't really played this year, but Smokey to come in and for St Kilda and be cheap.
We haven't mentioned Chad Warner yet. Is he a Smokey?
He might be more than a Smokey. Yeah. I think I've seen in chat a couple of people have mentioned him and Errol Goulden. I think Goulden's more of a Smokey than Warner. Warner just seems good, but I actually prefer Goulden out of the two.
You know the irony of, I believe it was you I was speaking with maybe a month or two ago when I accidentally traded in Errol Goulden.
Yeah.
And then correctively traded him out.
Oh, no.
Well, it's good having Azza here. He's got stats live for us.
Ooh.
Live stats.
Walsh averaged 86.9 in 2019. Was that his first year?
I think so.
And 101.1 in 2020.
Yeah, 2020's hard though. I don't like shortened quarters and all that.
Okay.
He's still been good.
Appreciate it. He was good. Yeah, no. I just don't love looking at 2020 as a data point.
Yeah, I think
Corzab wants to know if Ben Cunnington is fit and has a full preseason, how do we feel about starting him?
pretty good.
Very good.
Yeah.
Very good. The worst thing that could happen is they play him for us as super coaches.
Yeah.
For him, best thing. But for us as super coaches, worst thing that could happen is them playing him before the season ends.
Yeah.
He should still get that 30% discount though, even if he only plays two games.
Well, we hope so. But no, he'll be a very good shout because we've seen players
at the price that he could be, even if he only averages 90, that is still good.
Yeah, exactly. That's where the value is.
Also, he's a good boy because he fucking beat the shit out of cancer.
Yeah, that makes a good boy.
I feel bad about saying this, and I'm saying it live, so I can't cut it out. I didn't like him for the longest time because every time Freo played North Melbourne, he would punch one of the Dockers players in the stomach. So every time he went to a game, you'd be like, "Oh, which one did he punch this time?"
Yeah, look, I used to not like Ben Brown when he was at North. And the second he got traded to Melbourne, I'm like, I love Ben Brown.
I've always loved Ben Brown. I always said that about him.
Yeah, I've always loved Ben Brown.
Jesse also asks, if you were to compare your Supercoach season to the season of a player, who would it be? That's tough. I'm going to say for me it was Paddy Cripps. Started off really well, then dipped, then went really good again, and then I'm just sort of a question mark over these last 3 weeks. So I'm going to say Paddy Cripps. I've been up and down, but overall, pretty good.
Can I say Nat 5?
What?
Because I was building, the recovery was going so well, finally got back to a point where I was having the good scores, and then hamstring out for the season.
Yeah, that's fair.
Oh. I don't think a player has ever played poorly enough after such a... I don't think there is anyone that is equivocal. Maybe Isaac Ranking.
Just choose like I don't know, Lucky Schultz.
Yeah, I think Isaac Rankin. I can go with that. Lots of hype, lots of build up, spots of greatness, but mostly.
And getting traded to Adelaide next year.
Okay,
You're moving in with Barron.
I've got 2 here. Azza wants to know, is Paddy Dow a smoky for 2020?
Oh, Jesus Christ. Not at Carlton. He'll get traded for a late third round pick in the off season, and it'll be to Richmond or Geelong. And if it's Geelong, no. If it's Richmond, they'll probably play him. He's got talent. He'll be cheap, but he's not like it's going to be a Jordan Clark of last year type selection.
And Fife is Life talking to me, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Young or Chappie as the smoky for next year?
That's tough. That's a tough to split. I'm going to say Young just because
I think Hayden Young. Heath Chapman has reduced the need for Logue down in defence.
Mm-hmm.
If Chapman wasn't playing a more accountable role, Logue would still be in defence. But that would make the defence very tall. So I think Chapman has had to take up a lockdown role, and he's not scoring poorly from it. He's just not probably Supercoach friendly.
Yeah.
And in the preseason, they will hone in on that a little bit, and so I think he's probably going to be one of those players that averages like 80 for his entire career.
I just can't hear the name Chappie without South African voices running through my head for the next.
That movie depressed me, man.
It's not a great fun time, is it?
I haven't seen it. I didn't watch it just purely because of the IMDb reviews.
Well, I've been listening to the Auntie Donna podcast. South African Sam's is specifically what's going to... Have you ever read The Power of One, Mark?
Trigger Happy wants to know how much power we have to lobby the SC rule makers to keep rookie-priced players at rookie priced if they don't play 3 games in their first season. We have no power. We're friends with people.
We have no power,
but
here.
We're not that friendly with people.
Storm Cruel. Not even the Herald Sun guys have any power. So
yeah, it's that they just promote it. The amount of power that they have is very little to what people think they have.
It's like a suggestion box.
Yeah,
really.
It's a suggestion box that
for
won't
all
get
of
checked.
us.
They basically sit down with the person that makes it the game and says, "This is what our people want," and then the people go, "Cool." Put probably 99% of it in a file that they never open again, and then they go.
We'll see if they want it next year. If they want it next year, then that makes sense.
And then they take the one card that says brighter colours. And then that's what and that's what they do.
I just want everyone out there watching to start tweeting them about making us able to create any draft rules we want and maximise lists and fix the draft part of the game. They made inroads this year, but that still needs to be fixed.
And then we need to fix the actual draft and the actual free agency. And all
well, yeah, that's a whole nother. That's a whole other thing. Fraser Kenny on the website. Hey boys. Firstly, huge props to all those on the pod. Whether it's on the tram to uni in Melbourne or a train in Italy, I've loved every minute of it. Bit of a flex that Fraser's been going to Italy.
Can I go to Italy with you next time, Fraser?
Two questions this week.
On the good boy list, Fraser.
Fraser's on the good boy list. 2 questions this week, as I think most of us have to none trades left. Yep.
Yeah.
So these are a bit more general. 1, what technique or secret strategy worked best or worst for you boys this year? For example, only buying under 550k, etc. I think
the key word in there was strategy, of which I had none.
For me, it was maximising DPPs in defence and forward, not spending over 550k, which I think worked out. I picked up most of the good defenders when they fell in price, and then. But I think 80% of Supercoach comes down to picking the right captains and loopholing the right rookies, honestly.
Yeah, I think the biggest strategy, yes, my season has been a train wreck, but I kind of did it to myself, very much so. I think I was and still looking back on it, very structurally, I was very happy with.
The chat just wants to know, did you dab while you sneezed?
Yeah.
Yes, he did.
Just
I noted it as well.
See if I can get away with it.
Wow,
I'm filled with like the power of Damo being here. I don't know what to do with my hands. Yes, Azza.
Did you have any strategies that worked, Demo?
I had strategies in my head, but as soon as my season started going down the toilet, they went in the bin.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is structure. Like, feeling comfortable with your starting structure is probably the one thing that, like, don't go in there with too many question marks, because with the question marks, and it's probably something that I've done in previous years that I definitely improved on this year, which was jumping off someone too early because I wasn't sure with them to begin with. So holding on to, like, and that can work for you throughout the whole season's holding on to trades a little bit longer because a player had a down week and could have been better.
My biggest advice to people is don't get FOMO when you're playing Supercoach.
Yeah.
Because as soon as you look at what people are doing online, you go, I want to do that. Plan goes in the bin. Your team gets fucked. You stick to your plan. You've made the plan for a reason. I guarantee you, your team will come out better at round 23 if you stick to your plan than it will if you don't. Like, it might look great up until round 15, but after round 15, the reason you had that plan will come into effect.
Yeah, and all the best players do it as well. You know, you see people like Supercoach Marmo and you know, people like that out there on the Twitter sphere. You see their teams, and you're like, yeah, you've followed your strategy and you've not deviated, which hasn't caused a lot of variance in the bad things that can happen because you're writing them out. Like, you know what moves you want to make and you know what problems you have to fix and when to leave them, when to not touch it. Like, oh man, I got the bad brain, I got the smooth brain when it comes to the FOMO, so I can't quieten that little voice. And by God, once I stop that, y'all better watch out. all y'all watch out.
I think popular players at the start of the season in your starting team as well are generally popular for a reason. I didn't like how many non-pods I had in my starting team, so I didn't start like James Sicily. Probably should have. He scored a lot of points. So I think you can start pods, but, you know, read my bloody Supercoach commandments. Like, do what I say. Like, do what I say, not as I do.
Az has got two questions. One for you, Clarky.
Oh, God.
Who is a draftee that is yet to debut that you will hope will play Supercoach in 2023, aside from Van Rooyen?
I think I'd like to see Bailey Laurie out there as well. Are we talking specifically Melbourne?
I think so.
Bailey Laurie, I think, is probably on the cusp as well of really coming in. And
they signed him for quite a while when he re-signed, so they obviously see something in him.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of Melbourne that is actually kind of, weirdly enough, we're in the middle of a premiership window and also at the same time trying to future-proof us for, you know, the next better part of 5 years. Like, you know, we've got long-term signs who are in the best 22, and then we're signing these younger guys. And I think even Tajwa Woden, I think he's somebody who I probably look forward to coming through.
The notes coming out from the preseason was that he could have snagged a round one debut if everything fell his way.
I think the trouble is that there's a lot of guys competing for similar spots. The Melbourne best 22 at the moment, I think, is probably, barring injury, the hardest thing to get into unless you're a defender, because the defenders are the main ones that seem to be swapping out quite a lot. You know, Trent Rivers coming back in and Jaden Hunt played on the weekend.
Melbourne have a very good defence, but it still feels like Simon Goodwin's playing around with the best mix.
Yeah, exactly.
Because he clearly wants Tomlinson in that team.
But Harry Petty is better. But
Petty, Lever and May can't be in the same team as Tomlinson when they're all fit. Do you think Tomlinson might work as a winger like he was at the Giants?
Possibly, but at the same time, then he just goes into a different pool of winger, like the Wingers Club, and then he's just competing with other people.
I don't think he's got the aerobic capacity anymore.
Well, before he got injured, if he didn't get injured, it's like a weird sliding doors. Ugh.
Could he?
But like, if he didn't get injured, Harry Petty wouldn't have come into that premiership side last year. And Harry Petty, I wasn't I knew he was skilled, but I remember when he came in from Tomo had done all the work in the preseason, all the work with the defensive group. Petty comes in and he proved himself that is his spot. Like, I just don't,
Azza has a follow-up question.
Go on.
And I will answer it for him. No, he does not have a cheese platter off camera for us. His wife made us cupcakes and he made us chicken katsu curry, which was pretty good. So,
it was very nice.
Very good.
So, no, he didn't. He also had a question for me. Would I go Ben King or Jai Amos? And to be honest, I could go both.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't like picking key forwards, but if they're going to be targeted enough and play enough, there's every chance they score enough to eventually turn into something useful.
Yep. Value is value. It doesn't matter where it is or how much it is.
We used to not go near key forwards and stuff like that in Supercoach. But there's been a shift in the way that they play and the way teams use them. So I think they're becoming more viable options for Supercoach.
I think we sort of projected ahead when 666 came in and thought that it might bring back the key forward or the key defender in Supercoach because there'd be more opportunities to get it in to a not so flooded defensive line or forward line. So I think there's definitely some room for them. You definitely need to be underpriced to be selecting them. Need to be a Charlie Curnow type. They need to be a Tom Hawkins when he falls down to 350 grand.
Yeah.
That's when you need to get him. So Ben King's not doesn't scare me as an option next year. Just depends who else we have up there.
I'm interested to see what price a few players come through as, because there's the 10, the 20 and the 30% discounts that get added to your run-of-the-mill players, but then there is a secret formula and it's decided by pre-season popularity on what sort of prices some players get. Apparently this isn't the case if you ask anyone who decides the prices, but there is definitely a
bias.
There is definitely a bias.
Say it, Damo.
Like James Sicily, I'm surprised he got the discount that he did, because at his price he was very popular. I expected him to still be about 500k. He was 440 something.
Yeah, which made him a must buy as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Jai Amos could be anywhere from 230k to 380k from playing one game and scoring 75 points.
Yeah.
Ben King should get the 30% discount because he will not play a game this season. So he should be about 260k. He might not be below 350 because of his potential popularity. I'm pretty sure there's a secret formula for
The Gary Ablett rule.
It's the Gary Ablett rule.
Okay, I've got a good question in chat because I've just got a mad answer for it. Where is it? All right, Harry Simon's in chat. For those of us with trades, who can we trade Crisp to with limited cash? Robbie Fox of Sydney, $456,000 since coming back from injury. 92, 70, 80, 135, 92, 95. I don't know anything about Sydney, but I like Robbie Fox. I love Robbie Fox, and he is the answer to your prayer.
Mr. Fox.
Now, let me tell you how many teams he's in. I'm going to guess it's a lot. 454 teams. He's in 0% of teams. That's your answer, Mr. Simons.
Well, actually, I don't know if it might even be the same Harry, but we've got Harry sent in an email to the mailbag, jockmailbag@gmail.com. Probably going to be closed after this episode, but hey, good to remember. So he's got a question about Crisp as well, but he traded Jackson to Moore last week, underwhelmed. He and Crisp are his worst performers. This week he has off in his league, but he has 3 trades left. So should he use one of his trades to side one of them, and which one? Or both.
But he's not playing this week?
No, he says he's got the week off in his league.
Why? Well, I would just wait for more information till next week. Personally.
That Taylor Adams is out. Could Crisp potentially
Come back?
get better?
Oh.
Crispier.
Time to buy Crisp. Buy.
That's it.
Potentially.
Maybe.
Maybe it's more of a Nick Dacos goes back up.
It feels like Crisp has no position at the moment.
Yeah. I'd be more inclined to. I mean, it depends how tired he is, but I'd be more inclined to push Nick Dacos back into the centre a bit more and give Chris complete run in that back line. But, either one works. Having a defined role will work for Crisp. So if I was in the situation where I didn't have to win this week, I would just simply hold and wait for more information next week.
Makes sense.
Should we move into captains and tips for the weekend? We've been talking for 45 minutes.
We've done good. That's a good podcast. Mega pod. Okay.
This is one quick last question because it's a good one. Causa B7 says, what do you think about having positions of key defenders, wing, and key forwards in Supercoach? Would that be cool? Yes, that would be cool.
So
I think we've discussed it before.
So in NFL fantasy, you have to pick a running back, you have to pick a wide receiver, you have to pick a quarterback, you have to pick a tight end, and you have to pick a defense and a kicker.
Yep.
So is he sort of saying like key forward, general forwards?
I think you would have
midfielders, general defenders, key. Yeah.
I imagine you'd either have one or two key position forwards, one or two key position defenders, 4 general forwards, 4, and then 2 wingers, and whatever the rest is. Me and Patch are in a keeper league that runs those rules.
It could be
and it's great.
Yeah, it could be a good layout for draft. I don't know if it would be a good layout for classic.
It just depends how many key forwards and key defenders there are to choose from.
I feel like restricting the field will take away a lot of the casual players that play in like a work league or something like that.
I only just figured out normal Supercoach.
Well, potentially, but for argument's sake, if my dad doesn't know Supercoach and he plays, he'll only pick key forwards, so maybe it'll encourage them to come in.
Yeah, actually, that's a great point. I'm completely switched. I'm in.
All right, let's move on.
Yeah, let's do captains and tips.
All right. Friday night, 7:50
Better
at
get my
the
tips up.
MCG is Melbourne against Collingwood.
I am so damn nervous about this game.
Should we tip and then captain, or captain and then tip?
I'm tipping Melbourne, baby. The run starts now.
I'm tipping Melbourne by 36 points.
I want Melbourne to win the premiership this year just so I can get a bumper sticker of Max Gawn holding 2 premiership cups that says double Ds.
I'm tipping Melbourne.
If that doesn't exist...
Patch, if you wanted to contribute, you should have come. I'm not reading out you tipping a draw for every game.
Should we just say that Patch trips...
He did, he texted me. He texted me. He said he tips a draw.
Okay. Patch, you should have come.
He's not here for his own personal safety because, my God.
All right, and captains in this game.
Christian Petrarca.
Collingwood don't really tag.
Clayton Oliver.
I'm the vice captaincy would be on Clayton Oliver.
Yeah, well, some of us don't have Clayton Oliver in their team,
but some of us.
Okay.
Christian Petrarca.
I mean, Nick Dacos, I think, is a reasonable shout, to be honest.
Mason Cox, because we kicked it to him last game. Why not this one?
Would anyone go Max Gawn, or are the days of Max Gawn VCC over?
I still think he's a little bit injured.
Yeah, me too. I think he came back too early. I've had suspicions. He's not an option. An option.
The man just wants to play.
Yeah. And that's fine.
Let's go to the next game.
Next game is Hawthorn against the Suns at Utah's Oval, the early Saturday game.
I mean, God, I want it to be Gold Coast. But Hawthorn are bad. I'm so torn.
I'm tipping Gold Coast because there's an off chance that they could still make finals, and I'd like to see them in the finals.
Mathematically possible is the best kind of football possible. Gold Coast.
And Took Miller is like the best option in this game.
No, it has to be Gold Coast. It has to be Gold Coast.
Yeah, Took Miller. James Sicily? Maybe?
Potentially.
Why not? If you got a VC and you want it, go get it.
Honestly,
Noah Anderson?
I know he's not been in great form this year, but if you wanted to have a Hail Mary, Tom Mitchell destroys it down at Utah's, and he likes playing the Gold Coast, so he would be my option outside of Took.
The Giants take on Essendon at Giant Stadium.
What a clash of the Titans this one's going to be.
Essendon have the betting, but after Mark McVeigh's comments, I wouldn't be surprised if the Giants do something.
I've tipped the Giants the last 4 weeks. I'm tipping them again.
I'm tipping Essendon.
I wouldn't be surprised if the Giants do anything because they haven't done anything for the last couple of weeks.
I wouldn't be surprised if Mark McVeigh's comments will make them do something that scare Essendon a little bit.
I was saying Boo Earns and Bombers are going to win.
I'm tipping GWS.
They're not going to win, though.
I tipped them against Sydney. I'm tipping them against Essendon.
You tipped them against Sydney?
I did not have a very good
week. actually had a weird feeling about them against Sydney. I thought they could win until the game actually happened, and I was like, yeah, they're not winning.
And Zach Merritt is the answer, by the way.
Mason Redmond.
Tom Green, but I don't even know if he's in the team at the moment.
Did Patch text you his tip?
I'm not interested in Patch's tip. You hear me, boy?
Patch is tipping a draw.
He's gone to the comments, has he?
What a surprise. Go to the people.
Next game.
Nobody enable him in chat.
Is the Bulldogs against the Dockers.
I swear you guys have played each other like 10 times this league.
This is the first time we've come up against each other this season.
Really?
Yes.
Oh my god.
In fact, the last time we played Western Bulldogs was like round 6 of last year.
I'm tipping your boys.
I'm tipping
We're going to this game.
We're going.
And I'm going as a Fremantle supporter.
Boom. Baby.
I even bought a sleeved jersey for him to wear to the game.
What the hell is this shit? I'll find something purple, don't you worry.
And I don't know in this game because Jack McRae's seemingly dead. Marcus Bontempelli averages 105 against
I was going to say James Aish could tag him, but that won't do anything.
What about Brayshaw?
Yes.
Done.
Last time they met in 2021, round 12, 2021, Bont scored 149 points against Fremantle. So he'll be my pick in that game.
The next game is 7:25 p.m. at GMHBA Stadium.
See?
The Cats take on St Kilda.
Wonder who's playing at GMHBA. Nobody else wants to fucking play there.
Geelong.
I'm surprised the Saints are making the trip.
Geelong by 80 points.
By at least 40 points.
Jeremy Cameron, because he's going to kick 6 and come back for the Coleman.
I know people talk themselves into, St Kilda, they can surprise you. Not at GMHBA Stadium.
No, there will be no surprises. Just like last week, Bulldogs made us think there was going to be a surprise.
Yeah.
But there was no surprise.
Is there any captaincy options in this one for you guys?
Tom Stewart, Jack Sinclair.
Jack Steele?
But only as vice captaincies, and you probably use it in an early game.
I stand by Jeremy Cameron or Tom Hawkins just in case they kick 8.
Jack Steele does not love playing Geelong historically, and
who likes playing Geelong? Let's be honest.
The highest average in this game against opposition is Sam Menegola, who averages 131 against St Kilda. Now he's not playing;
he's injured.
But the next best is Mitch Duncan at sub 100. So I'm steering clear of this game.
Yeah, let's move on. Next game is Port Adelaide against Richmond at Adelaide Oval. Ugh. I really could not care less about the result of this game.
Who cares?
For this one, I'm going to tip a draw.
Draw.
I wish I could.
Draw.
Richmond, I have to tip one because my league is
we're going to tip a draw on Port Adelaide Richmond.
I tip a draw officially, but because I'm on a tipping group that only doesn't have a draw, I got to tip Richmond.
I would like Port Adelaide to win just so Richmond can't make the finals.
I like Port Adelaide slightly less than I dislike Richmond.
Anyway, draw official is the official
official Jock Reynolds
and
result.
Captaincy option.
Next game.
Patch just texted me, "What the fuck is this?" in all caps. I will only accept a Richmond win if Jaden Short plays well, because as I discussed earlier, have mixed feelings about that man at the moment.
Yeah, or Toby Nankervis lift.
Yep.
All right. Moving on to Sunday, North Melbourne take on Sydney at Marvel Stadium. How much is Sydney going to win by?
Are you going to go to this game, Damo?
I don't know. I don't like witnessing murders.
I'm not sure that I can win my tipping competition, so part of me wants to tip North just in case.
I don't.
Azza has said North by 1 point.
I hope for your sake it is, but I'll tip Sydney.
Yeah.
And I will not be going anywhere near this game for captaincy because Heaney, Papley, Parker, who knows which one's going to score.
Mills.
Warner, Goulden.
I'd love Goldie to score well. I'd love you, Goldie, to just have a good game.
Yeah.
Okay, next game. Now, Lecter, I go on you to talk about this game. Brisbane against Carlton at the Gabba.
The Gabatoir.
At the Gabatoir. Well, it's season on the line stuff for the Carlton Blues this week.
Yeah, but Brisbane lost a 40-point lead.
Yeah, I know. I think Brisbane are gettable, but I think the smart play would be to tip them. Blues already have like 3 or 4 forced changes this week, which isn't great, and they played like shit last week.
Yikes.
Sam Welsh for captain, though, averages 130 against Brisbane, averages 122 at the Gabba.
What about Lucky Neal?
112 against Carlton, 120 at the Gabba. I don't think you can go wrong with either one. And a man who I'm looking at bringing into my team as a loop option, Dane Zorko, averages 103 against the Blues and 103 at the Gabba.
Better to get him in before he falls apart.
The other one is obviously Paddy Cripps. I think he's averaging like 38 disposals a game when George Hewitt doesn't play this year. And that is also equal to about 135 Supercoach points. So he is well worth a punt.
As a Sam Walsh, Lockie Neal, and Paddy Cripps owner, all 3 of those options sound decent.
I'm tipping Brisbane, sorry.
No, I'm tipping Brisbane as well.
Okay.
I'm, sensibly tipping Brisbane.
Okay. Next game is West Coast against Adelaide. Josh Kennedy's last game. Now,
Is it his last game?
It's his last game. So tomorrow is his last game.
Oh, so he's not going to play the rest of the season?
Nope, tomorrow is his last game.
Is this their last game in Perth?
No. Oh, no. Yes, it's their last home game.
Oh, is that okay? Yeah. Seems like an odd time to retire.
But next week is the Derby, so they're still in Perth, but it's not their home Derby. If the weather is anything like the weather was today in Perth, it won't matter what end either team is kicking to because the ball will only travel like 3 metres. Because the rain was that heavy that the ball just could not go anywhere. I'm going to tip Adelaide. But they need to play like they did last week. And that Adelaide hasn't turned up 2 weeks in a row.
I don't think they will show up. I think last week was their what's their coach's name? What's his name?
Who cares?
Anyway, the Adelaide coach, whatever his name is, I forget. I was talking about how they're putting that game in the scrapbook. That's exactly like they made a real big deal about winning against Carlton in Adelaide, and I don't like that. So I'm tipping West Coast. I'm
tipping West Coast because of, as we all know as footy people, we stand Eddie Betts because he's good for football and a good man. And to be honest, some of the stuff that's come out and some of the response by
that. I'm tipping West Coast.
Yeah, and some of
send Josh Kennedy out with a good win. He's a good player. He should go out with a win. He's a former Carlton player, so
I'm tipping West Coast, and that's nothing against any Adelaide supporters, but I've seen some real asses out there, and I can't stand that this week.
And Rory Laird, although I don't like his history against West Coast just quietly, but Rory Laird is clearly
obvious captain
clearly
option.
The captain option. Last 3 against West Coast, 136, 104, 120.
Probably my captain option again this week.
Question without notice. Are you scared that the Blues don't make finals? Genuinely scared?
No, the Blues will make finals. Lock it in when they beat Brisbane this week, wherever the camera is.
Was it you that I said, I think the draw has meant that the Dockers...
Yes, so we were talking about that earlier today.
Can't fall out of the 8. I mean, they can, but the results have to go very... Negatively. And
doesn't matter because you're going to win this week, Damo. I've already tipped it.
Go Blues.
We're done.
I think we're done as well. How long have we been going?
We've been going for almost an hour.
It's a group lean-in. Everybody, thank you so much for persisting with the tech issues. We've got it done.
We've finally got it working. Thank you for joining in the chat. Thanks for turning up.
Thanks
Patch, everything's a draw. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks for a great... I think this is the final mailbag for the year.
Final mailbag for the year. I assume the pods will still keep going.
Yeah, the pods will keep going. The pods will never stop.
Cool.
And I know, yeah.
The pods will never stop because we've also got things like Tradio and stuff.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
And I want to do Tradio every single day this year. I don't think we will, but I want to. I want to get us up to 100 episodes for the year.
That means that there might be a Tradio that's only 15 minutes long because no trade happens. Literally a pick swap, like pick 13 for pick 32 and 49. And
Yeah, but what does that mean for Supercoach demo?
Exactly. We can yes and this until the end of the world. As part of the mailbag crew, you'll still be hearing Damo on the wonderful, wonderful other pod. Pod 1.
Around the Wicket, with me and Azza,
Yes.
the first episode of that will come out just before the BBL Internationals draft.
Yes.
Where we look at who teams could potentially take or retain. So that will be happening soon. Also, shout out to Azza. He launched his website, The Dub.
The Dub, yes.
AFLW, everything. If you're into AFLW, go and check out the website.
thedub.com.au.
Follow them on Twitter. Tell Azza you love him because
we are so proud.
Everyone loves him. He's put so much work into this. Go and check it out. Go and use the website. It's fantastic. He spent a lot of time on it.
He's just put up a load of stats for AFLW historic AFLW fantasy. So if you're playing more as Magic, or I know that there are a few other formats out there that do AFLW fantasy, it's a spreadsheet that you can download. You can have that on your computer that Az has compiled, and it's so fantastic. Thank you so much for a wonderful season of the mailbag. We've honestly had a great time. We've had great guests. We've had great questions.
If you have any suggestions on how you think the mailbag can be improved for next season, let us know. We're always open for improvement. You probably noticed about mid-season we did change the way that we were doing it.
Yeah.
To pad it out a little bit. And
it's not padding, it's content. It's extra content.
And we do like the way it was being done, but there's obviously nothing's ever perfect. So if you have any suggestions, send them through. We'll see what we can do with the ones that are constructive enough. And as always, we will see you next time.
Love you, community.
And the stream.